Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 192, Ivo Hugh's Day at the Zoo. On the Skarloey Railway, there's a small animal park where visitors can get a close look at some of Sodor's finest creatures. The passengers board some cars at the Glennock Switch Tower, and an engine takes them around the short yet exciting trip through the zoo. Today, it was Ivo Hugh's turn to give the tour, but he was not very pleased. "These animals are rather stinky things," he complained. "I'd rather risk my cab at Boulder Mountain than do this." "Oh, hello, Bertram. Looking good, I must say." Ivo Hugh's first passengers of the morning were the Duke and Duchess of Boxford. They had never been on a tour before and wanted to see what all the fuss was about. "Go slow, Ivo Hugh," said the Duke. "I'm so used to Spencer flying down the line that this will be a nice change of pace." Ivo Hugh was not thrilled with his job, but set off anyway. When they came to the first enclosure, he came to a stop and let the Duke and Duchess look at the animals. "Well, that's interesting," said the Duke. "I was expecting something a little more exciting," added the Duchess. Ivo Hugh wasn't paying attention. He had noticed a railboat flying down the track and was very intrigued by it. Ivo Hugh," said the Duke, "what is this?" "Oh," gasped Ivo Hugh, "I'm sorry. This is a zebra. They are most commonly found in—" "What zebra?" asked the Duchess. "In fact, where are all of the animals?" Ivo Hugh finally looked around. He hadn't noticed it before, but there were no animals in their enclosures. "This is a rather desolate zoo," said the Duke. "Oh, this is bad," said Ivo Hugh quietly. "I need to take you back to the junction. It appears all of the animals have gotten out." Ivo Hugh backed up and the Duke and Duchess got off. "Don't worry," he said. "When I find all of the animals, I'll be back and we can continue the tour from where we left off." The Duke and Duchess were not pleased, but they didn't have much of a choice. Ivo Hugh raced down the line to the incline where Sir Handel and Rusty were working. "Have any of you seen some animals from the zoo?" he asked quickly. "Oh, you mean like that giraffe up there?" chuckled Rusty. Ivo Hugh looked up. There was a giraffe from the animal park sitting on top of the incline. "How did he get up there?" asked Ivo Hugh. "That's a steep climb." "I think he's looking for some food up in those trees on Coldy's line," chuckled Sir Handel. "Oh dear," sighed Ivo Hugh. "How are we going to get him down?" Just then, the giraffe climbed into one of the open slate cars at the top of the incline. "Here's our chance," shouted Rusty. "Send the cars down." Moments later, the giraffe was safely on the ground, and Ivo Hugh's driver and fireman corralled him into one of the zoo cars. "Thanks, everyone," said Ivo Hugh. "I have some more animals to catch, so I'll see you later." Next, Ivo Hugh headed down the line to the steamworks. He wasn't surprised to find the elephant entertaining Victor and Kevin when he puffed in. "There you are," said Ivo Hugh. "Sorry to end the show early, but I need to take this pesky elephant back to the animal park where he belongs." "That's a shame," said Victor. "He was showing us some of his favorite tricks." "I would give him more peanuts if I had any," said Kevin, "except I'm all out." The workmen glared at Kevin from across the steamworks. "Those peanuts didn't belong to you, Kevin," said Victor. "They belong to the workmen, who brought them as a snack for later. You should feel very ashamed." Kevin grinned sheepishly at Ivo Hugh. Just then, Henry puffed in. "Victor, I think I'm coming down with another case of boiler A. What is he doing here? Get out! Get out!" And Henry raced away as quickly as he'd come in. "What was that about?" asked Ivo Hugh. "I'm not sure," replied Victor. "Apparently, Henry doesn't like elephants." A few minutes later, the elephant was loaded onto Ivo Hugh's train and he set off once again. He found the tiger sitting on the tracks at the wharf where Colin was letting him play with his hook. Ivo Hugh then spotted the lion under the bridge near Boulder Mountain. "That's almost everybody," he said. "We just need to find that zebra." And Ivo Hugh puffed away to Ulfstead Castle. It took a little bit of searching, but he finally spotted the zebra in a field next to the station. "At last, I can finally get back to the animal park and give the Duke and Duchess their tour." Ivo Hugh's driver and fireman went out to the field to get the zebra. Just then, Ivo Hugh noticed something in the distance. It was the railboat he had seen earlier, and it had just stopped in front of the old abandoned mine tunnel. "Who is that man?" wondered Ivo Hugh. "I've never seen him before." Sailor John had gotten out and was looking at the entrance to the tunnel. Just then, Connor puffed by with a long train full of passengers. The coaches obscured Ivo Hugh's view of what was going on, and when they all finally passed, Sailor John and Skiff had vanished. "What?" gasped Ivo Hugh. "Where did they go? Connor, did you see that?" "See what?" asked Connor. "That man and his ship dinghy thing. They were just over there, and then you puffed by, and now they're gone." "Oh, sorry," replied Connor. "I wasn't paying any attention. I was making sure I could stop in the right spot with all of these heavy coaches. Apparently, passengers like coming to Ulfstead Castle during the holidays. That's why my train is so long." But Ivo Hugh wasn't listening. His driver and fireman had returned with the zebra. "Did you see that?" he asked them. "Did you see that man with his boat over there?" "Sorry, but we were busy with the zebra," said his fireman. "We don't know what you're talking about." "You've had a long day, Ivo Hugh," said his driver. "Let's get all of these animals back to the zoo and you can have a rest." Ivo Hugh was sad and disappointed. He knew he had seen something suspicious, but with no one around him willing to validate his claim, he felt incredibly silly. "I guess you're right," he said wearily. "Let's go." At last, Ivo Hugh returned to the animal park. The Duke and Duchess were still waiting, and Sir Topham Hatt had joined them. "Well done, Ivo Hugh. I heard that some animals had escaped from the zoo and hurried over as fast as I could. You've done a marvelous job collecting them all back up again." "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir," replied Ivo Hugh. "Now," said the Duke, "how about that tour?" But Ivo Hugh was worn out. He had traveled all over the Scarloey Railway, and the animals had made his train very heavy. "I think I can help," came Bertram's voice. "Why don't I take this one while you head back to the sheds?" Ivo Hugh had never been more grateful. "Oh, thank you, Bertram. You've just made this little engine very happy." "Fine with me," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Enjoy your rest while you can, Ivo Hugh, because tomorrow you're on zoo duty again." Ivo Hugh rolled his eyes. "How fitting," he chuckled, and he puffed away to get a good night's rest.